Hello, friends.
Hello.
And welcome to bOrgCast D2, I suppose.
Okay.
Yes. And covering episode 3 of Discovery.
Which is weird.
Which is a weird episode, yes.
Context is king, or something like that.
That is, yes, indeed. So, starts with our main character, Michael, being transferred from one prison to another, is it, or something?
Yeah, something like that, prison transfer, and then it all gets glowy.
Yes, and the pilot ends up disappearing out the window.
Yeah. I can see my house from here.
Yes, and finally, we see the Discovery. It's only taken 2 whole episodes before we finally get there, but we are there now. It's still not great, but never mind. It was lit very strangely in this. I like the shuttles, though. All their red flashing.
Yeah,
again, red flashing is a thing in this era. Apparently, all the ships have red flashing.
I'm more of a fan of the shuttles than I am of the Discovery, which still just looks wrong to me.
No,
I'm not sure.
Too
I can
boxy.
No, I'm not sure it is too boxy. It's just.
It is. The engineering section for me is just. It shouldn't be straight lines. We don't do straight lines in
somehow.
Trek.
It's sort of too triangular.
Yes.
I know it's that's not a box. A box is a square.
Oh, you pedant! You know what I mean. Not cylindrical. What would you call it? Normally, Federation ships aren't straight
They're smooth,
angled,
aren't they?
Yes, exactly. They're
curvy.
Curvy. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. There, this isn't the only curvy thing about it is the saucer section, which is unavoidably curvy. But
yeah, but it's sort of got a triangle on the end, and it's pointy and wrong.
yeah, it's all very weird. I suppose we might get used to it, but no. Whereas the Shenzhou was far more, curvy and what you expect.
Yeah, I liked that one.
Yes, they've chose the wrong one. It's the wrong ship grommet.
Yes,
but never mind. And they're taken on board, and it's all supposed to be shiny and new.
Yes.
Then again, all the ships look shiny new, and the Shenzhou looks shiny new, and it wasn't supposed to be, but never mind. And we see somebody's got a black badge. Ooh, creepy.
Well, presumably Black Ops black badge.
Presumably something like that, isn't it? Yes, and something to do with Black Alert, which was a weird thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, because black light, that shows up all the cum everywhere, doesn't it?
Right, again, a few minutes in, and you've lowered the tone to Australian levels. Wow.
I'm just thinking, if it flashes blue with blue alert, it must have a black light for a black alert, and then everybody must just go, ew.
Yeah, thanks for that. And it's hello to Jason Isaacs, finally, as well.
Yeah.
With that accent. Because, there's me expecting, oh, great, a British captain. Apparently not. No, they've hired a British guy to do a sort of southern accent.
Well, it's better than hiring a Canadian to do Scottish.
But, arguably. Yes, they've done far worse, I suppose, in the past. I do like the fact he has a tribble on his desk.
Yeah, but they hadn't come across them yet.
Probably not. No, so that probably doesn't work.
No.
Because prequels are stupid.
Yes.
His ready room, he's got to be Trek, he's got a ready room. Has no chair. So he spends all his time in there standing. He's obviously got really bad piles, I should think. Blummin' heck. And that's a running theme as well. There are a few chairs on the bridge, but that's about it, really.
Yeah, at one point they say, is this seat taken? And there's no fucking seat
there's
there.
Seat. The script doesn't even match what you're seeing visually. Yeah. You meet a roommate, whose name I must admit I've completely forgotten already. A ginger-haired lady.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nervous, talky lady.
Yes, I found her a bit OTT, but I guess I might get used to her after a while.
Well, I think you're supposed to.
Yeah, presumably. But she does make a thing of Michael not being a woman's name, so it's not just me that thinks that.
Yeah.
And yes, we see the engineering, which is all right, I suppose. But obviously, the main feature seems to be this, a special booth thing, which later on we find out is used for keeping spores in, or some such. It reminded me very much of The Expanse, all that glowy blue light stuff.
That's what it reminded me of as well.
Yeah, and really, we've never seen this before on Trek, and we'll never see it again, because prequels are stupid. Breath scan in order to gain entry, which is the most...
what the fuck do you do if you've changed your toothpaste?
Yeah, what if you're suffering from a cold and you sneeze it? I mean, it just seems a ridiculously clunky thing, doesn't it? And it's never been a thing before.
No, sorry, you've had alcohol.
Yes.
Cough sweet.
And as is proved in the episode, is easily bypassed as well, just by holding out a cloth and getting a bit of drool on it. Yeah.
Stupid idea.
A lot of the crew seem to be annoying on purpose, like they're sort of trying to make them I don't know. I mean, the chief engineer isn't exactly the most sympathetic of guys. I mean, admittedly, he's under a bit of pressure at this point. I quite like the security officer.
Yeah.
She seemed quite good.
Battlestar woman.
Yes, indeed. As she will ever be known from here onwards. And then they go on that away mission thing, and they take somebody with him, presumably a security dude, called Wachowski. Now, people called Wachowski always die, and yes, surprise, surprise. I mean, they don't have any red shirts in this because red isn't a colour, but no.
No, because black is instead.
Black is apparently, I don't know. And then we see an awful lot of very properly dead people.
Yes.
Gone are the days where a bit of ketchup smeared on them would do.
Mangled faces.
Mangled faces. And I'm sitting there with my kids thinking, yeah, okay, they might be getting a few nightmares from this. I did he just shush us?
Yes.
That's quite why that Klingon did that before then.
Because the big beastie was coming.
Yeah, it was a very un-Klingon thing to do, wasn't it? Shh, that's just weird.
Yeah.
But the big beastie, I quite like the big beastie. That looked
you?
Pretty horrible. Yes.
Oh,
and it was well rendered.
A fan.
Yeah, okay.
It reminded me of the scene that didn't need to be there in Force Awakens.
Uh-huh.
With the things running.
Oh, yeah, it's nowhere near as bad as that beastie. That beastie was just ridiculously over the top.
This is because it was mostly in the dark and it was a bit purple and looked like a mental mole.
A mental mole, that's what we're calling it, is it? Okay, yeah, very good. You know remember Baden when they don't have eyes. It's the whole alien thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeffrey's tubes. We get Jeffrey's tubes. Hey! So, again, that kind of feels like proper Trek if you've got somebody being chased around the Jeffrey tubes.
Did they come with Jeffrey's combs? Badum-tish.
Thank you. And, of course, we have the return of Doug
Bugger.
Doug Bugger, indeed. Yes, he's been transferred handily to this ship. What a coincidence. And it does have some good lines in this. As I said, you're always a good officer until you weren't.
Yeah, I like that.
And some of the dialogue's quite zingy in this on the upside. Isaacs is good, but he's very much Captain Creepy, isn't he?
He's Malfoy, isn't he? He's Lucius Malfoy in this.
Right.
Basically.
Okay. Yeah, that's presumably why they hired him then, because they wanted somebody creeping.
Yeah.
And he certainly is that. And the worst thing of this particular episode for me is the whole spore-based transporter. I mean, that's pretty much space magic.
It's an Iconian mushroom or something.
I mean, the Iconian gateways were pushing it, weren't they? But spores that somehow transport you at high speeds, and that's just... And how was she hearing him when he was telling her about it when she was in the booth and she was on Romulus and all the, Andorian and all that?
Well, they're magic mushrooms, you see.
They apparently are, yes. But, I mean, that aspect is... All right, the creepiness doesn't feel particularly Trek, but you could say Trek has had its creepy episodes in the past, but the spore stuff really is crazy. So, I mean, I know there is a thing about, biology and physics are kind of related, because obviously biology it's still a physical thing, and there is electricity in the body and all that sort of... So, kind of... But to jump from that to, spores are going to transport us around the universe seems like a heck of a jump. And we know nothing's going to come of it, because... we never hear of it again, because prequels are stupid.
So I'm just waiting for some kind of hideous mushroom-related accident, and that's why they never used it again.
Well, yes, that I'm sure will be the put the mockers on it, yes. But all in all, the first episode had that sort of that really good moment of exploration and stuff with the stuff in her suit and wonder and awe, and that kind of got my hopes up. And then the second episode really didn't have anything like that in it. She just consisted of her making, being mutinous. And this one's about, apparently she's going to fit right in because a lot of the other people on this ship are equally, even more dodgy, in fact. And, it's all very dark and, But I might get used to it. I mean, it's different. You can't accuse this of... It's not like... The worst is for me, is Voyager. Because Voyager's just regurgitating old Next Generation stuff. Supposedly in a different situation, but actually they never really made the most of that either. So far this is scoring more highly than Voyager because it's doing something different, and there are enough little bits and pieces in there to still make it feel like Trek. Although the spores are pushing it, I'm telling you. But other than that, because Trek's tried to be quite sort of scientific in the past. I mean, all right, let's say that, Iconian gateways, but that was a one-off, and maybe this is going to be a one-off or a 2-episode offer. I don't know. Yes, so, jury's still out, I think it's fair to say. Yeah,
I don't know. But I think, for me, it's too early to know.
Definitely. Yeah, so, but that's unsurprising. We're only 3 episodes in. It's certainly going to some interesting places that Trek hasn't gone before, which I guess we can only applaud. It's just a question of whether we think that works in the context of Trek or not. And again, We'll reserve judgment to an extent, but spores, really? Transporting spores. Somebody really was.
Transport.
Oh, well done. Right, on that note, shall we do some feedback?
Yes.
Yeah.
We've heard from the Mark, who writes, "Holy shit, the Orgs are podcasting about Discovery. That was quick."
It was last week, yes.
"My rule is Star Trek should be about something meaningful. And no matter what else you may say about Star Trek Discovery, and it needs a better shorthand than STD."
Oh, I've gone with Disco.
Yeah. I will go with Disco. It's about... Star Trek is about something, and while I feel the older shows had something per episode, this is nailing its worldview in day one. A multicultural federation versus the isolationist ISIS/Nazi Klingons. Racist, terrorist, cultists...
Yes.
Well, we are hitting some buttons here. The dialogue with the Klingons' hate of the line "we come in peace" and the fear of the loss of being Klingon. Heck, the line about the races that make up the Federation. I was expecting "we must secure the existence of our people and a future for Klingon children." It's not even subtle that the morals and unity and very values of the Federation stand against the very real issues of faith and race as tools of hate as we see today. It's about something meaningful, and it's being done as modern TV. I expected to hate it, and given how bad most Trek pilots were, it's the best of them. The only thing I hate is the uniforms.
All right, the uniforms are one of the things I can kind of live with, actually, but yeah.
In short, it passes my personal metric for being real Star Trek. Welcome back, Trek. You've been missed.
I tell you, the one thing I don't like about the uniforms, the only thing that bugs me, is that weird thing where they've got, like, one collar. You know, normally you have two collars on your collar, if you see what do you call it? The wing things.
I just thought that's what the collar was.
Yeah, the collar's usually made up of two wing things,
yeah.
Isn't it? But they've only got one.
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah, if you look at it, there's like one that it just looks wrong. But anyway, other than that, I quite like them. And that has been pointed out elsewhere, they are kind of Enterprise-y, so at least that seems to be following on. But anyway.
About Episode 3 specifically, Mark says, "Discovery is a cool ship with lots of weird shit going on. Black alerts and covert units. Lorca is interesting, a warmonger with a dark agenda. And I adore Cadet Tilly," that was her name.
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Mark. We have a name for her.
"I was chanting, 'Please don't be a red shirt, please don't be a red shirt.'"
There are no red shirts in this, so...
So Starfleet plans to use the Elder Webway from Warhammer. Didn't expect that.
I don't think that's spores either, though, is it, the Webway? Well,
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
Isn't that the one, though, that they can use, but they don't because it's dangerous?
Yes, that's the one. Yes, they're too sensible to use it, so they don't. I think it's like energy portals, if I remember rightly, rather than blooming spores. But anyway, we've also heard from the God of Llamas.
Llama God's Log, supplemental. Just one more thing. And yeah, okay, I know this is not how I normally start the feedbacks, but I've been having a lot of thoughts since last week, oddly enough. First of all, the Klingons, these have been bugging me all week, and so I really don't want to sound like one of the fanboys that go, "It's changed, it's different, I can't cope with the change." You know, it's fine, I welcome the change, but what is it that's so off-putting about the new design? And I think what it comes down to is that the new design for the Klingons isn't particularly distinctive. The original Klingons, they were... Okay, not the original Klingons, they were just Mexicans, but the original Klingons from the movie onwards, they were the kind of the original bumpy-headed aliens, bumpy heads, long hair. That's what set them apart from all the other alien species, and that's what other species that were designed for the show had to contend with. So the Klingons were a watermark in a way. These new Klingons look like generic aliens. They could be background creatures from Babylon 5 or Star Wars or anything really. They look like the sort of standard fare that Optic Nerve would be putting out in the 1990s. And that's not to say that they're bad, but there's nothing that really stands out and says this is a Klingon and this is unique. So yeah, I mean, maybe they'll grow on me, but yeah, I think that's probably what bugs me the most. And I really don't mind the Wicker. Another interesting thing that's come to mind following last week is, of course, the dating. This is set 10 years before Kirk on the Enterprise. Well, that's fair enough, but I've been wondering, are we actually going to see the Enterprise? The Enterprise herself was, according to Memory Alpha, launched in 2245. This is 2256, so the Enterprise is out there with Christopher Pike in command, with Spock on board. Are we actually going to get to see Michael meeting her foster brother? Are we going to get to see Zachary Quinto in this? Yeah, don't know, there's some possibilities. But anyway, that's just my ramblings from last week. So, this episode then. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed this. It's a fun sort of horror episode. Whilst that's not the typical Star Trek, in a way it kind of resonated for me. I never watched the original series until after I'd watched Next Generation. And there was something about the feel of watching TOS after having watched, the cleanliness of TNG, which made some of the episodes, even things like, Man-Trap, seem slightly horrific. So, in a way, it felt like this episode was, harkening back to that. And I kind of like that. But it wasn't just about the horror, and it was nice to see Starfleet's role in the war being addressed on a number of fronts, especially a lot of the crew saying they signed up to be scientists, not to fight in a war effort. So there's still enough of this that it feels like Star Trek, and there's enough that it's something new and different, but tackling similar themes, just in a different arena. So yeah, I kind of like that, but not the sort of arena where we're being attacked by rubber-coated stuntmen. Anywho. Of course, the big angular elephant in the room this week is that we finally get to see the Discovery. And yeah, I kind of liked her introduction. I was kind of expecting Michael to be taken out of prison, much in the same way that Tom Paris is removed from New Zealand at the start of Voyager. So, with the captain coming, we have an offer for you for a mission. So I kind of like the fact that they were just plucked out of space, although, as it turned out at the end, still in a very similar manner. But yeah, no, the introduction of the Discovery was nice. First thing then is the shuttlecrafts. I love the design of the shuttlecrafts. I love the colourings. That was beautiful. And the Discovery herself, well, yeah, she hasn't grown on me yet, but she might do. Interestingly, when you discover she and her class are scientific research vessels, that kind of suggests that maybe there's a reason behind the weird shapes. These are the concentric rings, like the sphere. They could all be to do with scientific experiments and the like. So that could explain the very strange look of the ship. So, there's some story behind that. Not so sure what to make of the interior set. The bridge looks very harsh compared to the Shenzhou. The Shenzhou was lovely. The Discovery seems a lot more austere inside. I mean, the corridors are really wide and Death Star-y, so I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah, it's again, it could grow on me. And Captain Lorca has his own ready room, so that's another plus. The engineering set, I love the engineering set. I mean, that really did harken back to the original series, and it was kind of a halfway gap between the NX-01 and the original Enterprise. I liked it. And the crew quarters, they look particularly comfortable. I mean, I don't know. They're a lot more spacious than they were on the 1701D, it looks like, although it seems to be that they're also a terrible use of space. High ceilings, no rooms, that's not how you build living spaces. Anyway. And yeah, I like the story. I liked that we were discovering Discovery, and there was a brilliant shift in the episode. I love the fact that we start the episode with there being quite clearly a dark secret to Discovery, and with Michael Burnham being quite uncertain about it. And then at the end we find out that no, it's not actually a dark secret, it's something that could be really good. And then we find out that no, actually there is a dark secret, because we find out the captain is actually some sort of psychopath who keeps dead aliens as trophies. So yeah, that's not at all disturbing, but it's an interesting little mystery, and as much as we've got to find out what Discovery's role is, it's going to be interesting to find out more about Captain Lorca and what he's actually planning, what he actually wants to do, and how much he believes of what he's told Michael, and how much it's going to be different. I'm really enjoying this, and I'm really looking forward to next week's episode. So yeah, I really want to see more of this. The Discovery is, if nothing else, a ship that needs to be discovered. So yes, until next week, glory to you and your cast.
Yes, somebody made the point on Twitter today that actually in the original series, Kirk aside, and even arguably with him, most captains were pretty mad, actually. Yeah. And that's to say nothing of the various Commodores as well. So
yeah, they were all mad as well.
So Captain Lorca's quite in keeping, really, with the era.
It was only in Next Gen in that era where it was the admirals that were bad.
Yes,
the Badmirals. It was actually bad captains and bad Commodores earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I don't think we're going to see the Enterprise simply because they'd have to rework the design to make it fit these ships and give it, angular warp nacelles and stuff, and then it wouldn't look like the Enterprise, so it would be a pointless thing to do. So it just wouldn't work, would it?
No.
It's a shame, but there you go. That's just because of the bizarre design choices they've made. The Klingons not distinctive. I'm not sure I'd go quite that far, but certainly there are echoes of them in quite a few other things. Galaxy Quest springs to mind, and they had all those pointy and bits and outfits that were quite wicker as well. So,
what, the grasshopper people?
Yes, and actually, there's a species in the Orville
called the krill.
Yeah, who don't look a million miles. They're white. That's the big difference. But other than that, yeah. So this appears to be not the most distinctive design ever, but there we are. Yeah. Actually, there are a lot of quite distinctive-looking aliens. Who was the one who got given the con? I don't know if you can catch their name. It was a female alien, and very silver, and they were sort of round head. That was quite a nice design. But I mean, here we go. They seem to struggle when they're fine if they're left to their own devices and do new stuff, but when they're supposed to be replicating old stuff, they seem to feel the need to give it a new spin, and it don't look as good. No. But hey ho, never mind.
In terms of engineering, actually, thinking about it now, because it's a multi-level set, and the upper bit is very similar to Enterprise.
I must admit, I can't remember what the upper bit looked like very much. I can only remember the ground level.
In Enterprise, where you often got Trip working high up on big round things.
Yeah.
Well, they had big round things on the upper level, so there was definitely a sort of...
I didn't really feel we got to see much of engineering beyond the cabinet with all the spools in.
And you had the consoles with no seats.
And then, seatless. I say, everybody must really suffer with piles on that ship. That's all I can think. But there we go. Yep, jury's still out. We'll let you know what we think of next week's as and when. But, of course, we do have a full episode at the end of this week that we're recording, covering the episode. So let's see if I can remember now.
The Ferengi one.
Yeah, that narrows it down. Blimey, Charlie. We had one of those last time as well.
Ferengi love songs?
Yes, I believe that's the second one. It's the...
And Ties of Blood and Water.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I'm glad I brought you on board. There we are. But in the opposite order to that. But yes.
Oh, sorry, I get them the wrong way round.
Yeah, you did. But at least you remember the titles. So we'll catch you then. Until then, cheerio, bye.
Yes, bye. The bOrgCast is brought to you by the lovely people at GeekPlanetOnline.com.
All music referenced is for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
To contact us, you can use the forums at GeekPlanetOnline.com.
Visit our Tumblr site at bOrgCast.tumblr.com.
Send email messages or MP3s to bOrgCast at GeekPlanetOnline.com.
Or you can contact us via Twitter on rev_org or bOrgCastAmmo. Hashtag bOrgCast.
Impossible, super special, crazy, crazy.
Shut it down!